Welcome to the Freedom Camp Podcast, rooted in truth, growing in freedom, and built on the belief that you weren't meant to grow alone. Each week, I'll share honest stories, insights, and simple questions to help you explore the unseen things that keep you from living in the freedom that's already yours, and take brave, intentional steps toward the life you were made for. This is your space to reconnect with your authentic self and grow in freedom on purpose.
Have you ever said no and then immediately felt bad about it? Like you did something wrong, even though you know you didn't? What if guilt doesn't mean you're wrong? What if it means you're doing something new? We often weren't taught boundaries growing up, and we often were taught to be helpful, to be available, and to keep the peace. And especially as women, we may have been taught to overfunction. We may have that first daughter energy where it's like our job to take care of everyone else. And oftentimes within the Christian subculture, there is a prevalence on women serving everyone else before themselves, that their needs don't matter and that they need to just be available to everyone all the time. So when you don't do that, say when you set a boundary, your system often flags it as a problem. But feeling guilty doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. It might mean that you're doing something different, that you're doing something new. And our brains prefer familiarity and safety over growth and walking in the spirit and growing in freedom. Boundaries often feel unsafe because they're unfamiliar. And guilt can often be a result of conditioning rather than conviction, especially if you were raised in a home or in an environment where guilt was used as a manipulation tactic to get you to do something. When you feel guilty, that doesn't necessarily equal conviction. Oftentimes, it's that conditioning response that you have been taught from your survival identity to connect with. So all of this reminds me of this, viral clip of Theo Vaughn that's been going around lately, where he is talking about this beautiful, vulnerable moment for him that he is hearing, learning, looking at the story about the paralytic man at the pools in Bethesda, and that Jesus goes up to him and says, "Do you want to be healed?" And Theo Vaughn is getting real and saying he doesn't know if he wants to get healed, because there is this version of him, this unhealed or not free version of him that he knows. And he knows this struggling version and the one with the pain, and he knows how to function within that version of himself. And the other people in his life also know how to function within that version of himself. So there's this scariness, this unfamiliarity, this leap of faith with, I don't know if I want to get healed. How would that change my identity? How would that change how I think? And how would that change how I act? How would that change how I feel? And I thought, that's exactly what this is. And by this, I mean what Freedom Camp is. And specifically, what looking at really applying boundaries to our life often is. Because when you start setting boundaries, when you start saying no, or maybe not over explaining, or maybe not over giving, or when you stop saying yes to everything but yourself, or when you start saying yes to yourself, there's a part of you that feels like you're losing something. And you're not just setting a boundary with someone else, you're setting a boundary with a version of yourself. So, like Theo Vaughn is saying, well, who am I going to be if I say yes to healing? Who are you going to be as you continue to grow in freedom into the person that God has created you to be? And that version is unfamiliar. And it might not feel like you, but it might be the freest version of you. So, of course, it's going to feel uncomfortable. And of course, there's going to be tension. But that doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. It means that you are becoming someone new. You're becoming more free. A boundary is not telling someone else what to do. It's deciding what you will do and then doing it. And sometimes the boundary is not with someone else. It's with the version of you that keeps overriding yourself. Like, I instantly think of Paul, and he talks about, I say what I don't want to say, and I don't say what I do want to say, and I do what I don't want to do, and I don't do what I do want to do. And there's this dichotomy oftentimes with us where the very thing that we want to do, say, set a boundary and follow it, is more challenging than we think it's going to be because it's unfamiliar, it's new, and it brings up this whole host of stressors. Our nervous system can get all dysregulated, and oh, they don't know how to relate to me this way, and I don't know how to relate to me this way, and the whole thing can just really stir a lot of stuff up. And so that's exactly what Freedom Camp helps to calm. We do it together. We do it in community. We do it in a pace that is free. Everyone's free to go at their own pace and to push themselves or not push themselves to whatever degree that they are currently at a space to do. And there's always something practical. So, next time you feel guilty, I want to encourage you, rather than asking, did I do something wrong? What if you asked, am I doing something different? Am I doing something new? And then even, what would it look like to stay aligned with myself in this new thing? What would it look like to honor myself right now? And see what comes up for you. So this isn't a light switch type thing, like you walk in boundaries, you don't walk in boundaries. You may still feel guilty sometimes. You may override yourself again. You may override yourself 1,000 more times. But you'll start noticing it sooner, and you'll start choosing something different faster. So when I think about it, there's, identifying, I might want to have a boundary in this area. There is looking at, what would that boundary be? Then there is potentially communicating that boundary to someone else. And then finally, there is actually following through with what you said that you were going to do. Any of those could need to be adjusted, could need to be tweaked and changed. Any of those you may falter on, or you may not. So, saying all this to say This is a cumulative, lifelong type process. And the encouragement is to start where you are and to start now and to start working through these feelings of guilt or these feelings of discomfort. This is exactly the kind of work that we do inside of Freedom Camp each week. Real life application with support and community where we're not just learning it, we're actually applying it, we're living it, and it's changing our lives and the lives of those around us. The doors are open right now, but they do close at midnight on May 3rd. We only open the doors 3 times a year so that we can foster an environment of community, of trust, and a place where we can really do life together and get to know each other deeply and in a meaningful way. And round 2 starts next Monday. So if you're feeling the nudge to stop overriding yourself, if you're feeling the nudge to grow in freedom in real practical ways, come join us.
Thanks for listening to the Freedom Camp podcast, where we believe freedom is nurtured from within and grows when you tend to it. If this stirred something in you, let it take root this week and see what grows. And if you enjoyed this or found it meaningful, please give the gift of a review, share it with a friend, and leave a comment below. It helps us build this podcast community because we weren't meant to grow alone.